You know that old saying, honesty is the best policy? We hear it all the time, right? It's one of the first things we learn. But have you ever really paused to think about what that means? What's actually happening inside our minds and our bodies and in our relationships when we choose to live honestly?
To try and answer that, let's follow that ripple effect of telling the truth, and we're going to start right at the source, inside ourselves.
It might sound a little obvious, but it's so important. Real, true honesty, it has to start with being honest with ourselves. It's the foundation that everything else is built on. You see, self-honesty is so much more than just not lying to yourself. It's this ongoing, active practice of really tuning in, listening to what you genuinely think and feel. And when you do that, it creates this incredible inner clarity, which is what allows you to really grow as a person. This here, it really shows the two paths you can take. On one side, when you're honest with yourself, you start to build a life that feels full of purpose, one that's guided by what you truly value. But on the other side, when you deny those feelings, it just creates this constant inner conflict and stress. So this very first choice, to be true to yourself, that's the first ripple, and it really sets the stage for everything else to come. And from that personal foundation, that little ripple of honesty starts to spread outwards, touching all of our relationships and really building the very architecture of trust. When we talk about honesty in relationships, it's not just about getting the facts right. It's about creating this feeling of safety, of reliability. It's that quiet promise that says, you can count on me. And it's that feeling of security that allows for real emotional connection. It's the space where we can finally truly let our guard down and feel like we're really being seen and understood and valued for who we are. And this isn't just for one-on-one relationships. This idea scales up in a huge way. Honesty is like the social glue that holds entire communities together. It builds that mutual respect, it supports the values we all share, and it just makes our world feel a little more cooperative, a little more predictable. Okay, so the ripple keeps going, and now it reaches a place you might not expect at all, our physical health. It turns out that living an honest life can actually lead to a healthier body. So a pretty big study followed thousands of older adults, and they wanted to know, is there a real, tangible link between living with integrity and your long-term health? And what they found, well, it was pretty amazing. People who scored highest on honesty and integrity, they had an 18% lower risk of developing lung disease. Now, we're still figuring out exactly why, but the thinking is that living authentically just reduces that chronic day-to-day stress, which we know has a huge impact on our physical health. And the benefits didn't stop there. They also saw an 11% lower risk of depression. It really suggests that the psychological comfort, that feeling of ease that comes from living in line with your values, is a really powerful shield for our minds. The study also found they had fewer problems with mobility and had an easier time with their daily activities. So it really seems like integrity is this quiet but incredibly strong partner for our long-term well-being. So now let's go even deeper. Let's look under the hood, so to speak. How does it actually process honesty in other people? The science here is just fascinating. So neuroscientists have actually found what they call a trust network in the brain. It's a group of regions, like the ones you see here, that all work together to constantly figure out how trustworthy is this person based on how they're behaving. But here's the really wild part. This network, it doesn't just react to what's happening right now. The activity in these brain regions can actually predict how much we're going to trust that person down the road. It's like our brain is building a forecast, a model of trust. So what this is really saying is that our brains are constantly collecting all these tiny signals about whether someone is being honest. And it weaves all that data together to build this internal guide of who we can rely on. And that guide quietly helps us make all of our social decisions. So it's pretty clear that honesty is a really powerful thing. But does that mean we should just be brutally honest no matter what? Is there a time when maybe that's not the right approach? And the answer is a very clear no. In some situations, especially where things are toxic or abusive, your safety has to be the #1 priority. And sometimes that might mean not sharing the whole truth. The real art is finding that gentle balance between truth and compassion. And the wonderful thing is, this is a skill. It's something we can all learn and get better at. It starts by creating a safe space for people to share, really listening to understand them, not just to reply, and speaking from your own experience. It's about being truthful, yes, but always, always with care and with respect. So at the end of the day, honesty is so much more than just a simple policy. It's a practice. It's a way of being that sends these quiet ripples through our minds, our bodies, and our deepest connections. So I'll just leave you with this one gentle question. What is one truth, just one, that you can be a little more honest about today?